Welcome to the State of the School for 2018. This is a very special State of the School because we are on the eve of our actual 175th anniversary as a School of Medicine. On November 1st, 1843, 6 faculty and 67 students gathered together to initiate what was then the Department of Medicine at Western Reserve, and the rest is history. So here we are in our glory 175 years later. It's quite a legacy, but it's also quite a promise, and I'm delighted to be here with you. We have always had the mission to be excellent in education, in the health sciences and in the biosciences, to be excellent in research, and to make sure that that research, if it has a crack at it, comes forward to benefit patients, and also to improve the health of our community. There's no doubt but that Cleveland needs it. We have a community that needs our help and the help of all of the organizations and folks in the city to improve the health of all of our citizens. So those are our missions, and let's look at how we've gone about that. I think there is no way to achieve our goals and realize our dreams other than through collaboration and teamwork. Medicine is becoming a team sport. The organization of medicine now is going to require not just the physician, the old image of the physician, out there with his flaming sword beating back disease, and yes, it was usually his flaming sword. But now it's a team of health professionals with different talents coming together to take care of patients in the best possible way. On the education side, it's up to us to teach that. It's up to us to bring that forward in our students. Research, too, is now heavily engaged with teams. It's not to say that the individual performer in his or her laboratory couldn't have a breakthrough discovery that really grew largely out of his or her brain. But I would venture to say that for that to come forward and matter in the world, it will take a village. So I think the teams are very important on the research side as well. And for those of us who think about and work in the community, there is no way to do community activity by ourselves. The medical school can't do it by itself. The hospitals can't do it by themselves. We need to work together with the people in the community, with other voluntary health organizations, with each other in order to make things happen. So I would say that no matter what area we're working in, teamwork and collaboration are key. So let's look at our educational programs. This has been a very good year for graduate programs. Our master's students' enrollments increased. Our PhD students' enrollments increased. Our Masters of Science in Anesthesiology grew. And our physician assistant program enrolled its 3rd class and graduated its 1st class this August. So we're very proud of them. All of these are growing programs, but they're not just growing quantitatively. They're growing in quality in many ways. Our PhD programs have really taken off with the leadership of Walter Boron, working with Paul McDonald and the new director of the BSTP, George Dubiak. The new enrollment through the BSTP went up considerably, and 80% of those students are training grant eligible, and about, I think, 12% of them are underrepresented minorities, which will help everybody obtain new training grants when they submit. I think this is a great achievement. We have organized our master's programs to meet the needs of our community and our health community. So the Masters of Science in Physician Assistants fits with our concept of interprofessional education and medical teams. The Masters of Science in Anesthesiology is also in the team mode of how one takes care of people in the operating room. Our developing Doctor of Physical Therapy program fits with the excellence of our physical medicine and rehabilitation department, particularly at Metro Health, and also with the science that goes on in our biomedical engineering department. We want to have the best people in medicine and PhD programs and in dentistry. So our post-bac programs, both prime and the physiology master's programs, which helps prepare students to come into these programs, are really they're essential. Our entrepreneurship programs, the MS in regenerative medicine and entrepreneurship are important. And there's huge demand for master's and PhD students in bioinformatics. I'm very proud of what's going on with the graduate programs. We continue our strong commitment to excellence in medical student education. Just last week, we received our one-year letter from the LCME. If you remember, last year we were reaccredited, fully accredited for 8 years. That's very good. But we had 4 citations and 4 areas of monitoring. I'm proud to tell you that with this new letter, all of the citations are removed. We have only 1 area of monitoring left. So we have done one heck of a job in a year in clearing those. The one area of monitoring is the diversity of our faculty. And we've been working hard at this, but we haven't made a big dent in the statistics in our faculty. So in January, we initiated a modified Rooney rule for recruitment. Now, for those of you who are not football fans, the Rooneys own the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were impressed that although there were many players who were African American a number of years ago, there were almost no coaches. So Rooney said, we have to interview an African American every time we select a coach, and it made a big difference if you look around at the benches in the NFL now. So we're asking that if there are 3 people coming in for on-campus interviews, at least one will be an underrepresented minority or female, and if there are more than 3, at least 2. So we're going to give this a fair shot, and we're going to work very hard at this. And we're going to see to it that our faculty composition is more reflective of the community composition. We're very proud of our curriculum here. Our IQ groups, though they're 12 years old, remain at the cutting edge of innovation. We take care of self-directed learning in this curriculum, and that's very important. The medical school gets them for 4 years, the public gets them for 40 years. If they don't know how to continue to learn, we have not done our job. Our pathways are innovative. Right now we have urban health, we have humanities and medicine, we have prevention and wellness, and this year an entrepreneurship pathway, which has proven to be very popular. Next year coming down the pike is world medicine and maybe systems medicine. That may take us another year. We'll talk more about interprofessional education. We are leading in applying new technologies. Our tripartite anatomy, revised anatomy curriculum is living anatomy using ultrasound. If you've had the misfortune of being in an emergency room lately, you know that the physicians there look at you with an ultrasound as much as with their eyes. Radiologic anatomy and our incredible augmented reality hollow anatomy. If you haven't seen it, you really owe it to yourself to do that. But we're not just technically excellent in our preparation. We are known for case doctors caring, case doctors interacting with the patients, and we will never give that up in our curriculum. And we'll talk a little bit more about interprofessional programming. We continue to attract absolutely spectacular students. You know, these, if you haven't met some of them, you're missing a real treat. You really must see these kids. They are absolutely wonderful. But not only do they come in great, we send them out great. Technically, they are wonderful. They are well above the national average on all of the USMLE tests, 11 points on step 1 and 5 points on step 2. That's a big jump from the median. Moreover, they do very, very special things. They do special things such as Tolu Rasanwo, who is up in the upper left-hand corner there. She just finished her 2nd year in a Howard Hughes Fellowship at Harvard, working with the Dean of Harvard Medical School on therapeutics for sickle cell disease. So she has had one heck of a nice run. This year we have 7 NIH medical research scholars, 6 of them from the CCLCM, 1 from the university program. These are coveted awards. They are one-year awards to work at the NIH and do research. These kids are fabulous. Now on the bottom left, the 2 ladies on the bottom left on the bottom row are Mona Lisa Delva and Maria Rodriguez Vasquez, who are the co-presidents of the Student National Medical Association, Latino Medical Student Association, whose purpose is to support underrepresented minority students in medical schools. So we have just a fabulous selection of students. And when they go out, they go to the very best residencies in the country. And they're very happy about it. We're very happy for them too. Last year we had about 38% go into primary care. Of those who matched in surgery, 36% were women. I don't think we've had that proportion of women in surgery ever in my memory in town. 21% of them will continue at our their residencies at our affiliated hospitals, and 27% will stay in Ohio. So these kids are pardon me for calling them kids, they're the same age as my kids, so maybe I get to do that. They are really absolutely wonderful exemplars of what you'd really like to have in your doctor when you walk into that examining room and treatment room. We're very proud of them. Interprofessional education has every promise of being a hallmark of Case Western Reserve. We have developed a new IPE course called Systems and Scholarship that requires one of the top 3 bullet experiences before you can take it in your 1st or 2nd year. The Systems and Scholarship is a didactic course and is in the preclinical space. And I want to tell you especially about the clinical space in interprofessional education. I was at the National Academy of Medicine and sitting in the education interest group and stunned 2 years ago to hear one of the members say, "Gee whiz, nobody can do interprofessional education in the clinical space. Didactic, yes. Clinical, no." Well, George Thibault, who was at the time the head of the Macy Foundation, who's funded a lot of our clinical programs, and I looked at each other with raised eyebrows and plunged into the fray, talking about just how it can be done and how it is being done at Case Western Reserve. Probably our most popular program in interprofessional education is the student-run health clinic, where medical students, nursing students, PA students, and social work students come together and organize the clinic themselves. It's a very horizontal model. So sometimes the lead is a nursing student, sometimes it's a social work student, sometimes it's a medical student, but sometimes it's a PA. Very horizontal. They recruit their own preceptors, and they are thrilled to be there on Saturday mornings serving the public. It's so popular that they've had to limit the duration of time that any one student can attend that clinic. So usually you have to rotate out after you've been going for 4 months. And I think that that's an indicator that we need to find other sites for student-run health clinics, perhaps at the FQHCs or even down at the new campus the health education campus that's being built. Aging in Place is a wonderful program. 3 students, always a medical student, sometimes a nursing student, sometimes a PA student, sometimes a social work student, go to the home of an elder in the community and meet with them for several hours every other week. The objective is to see how environmental and social issues impact on their health care, on their ability to take medicines, on their ability to get to the doctor. Wonderful program, very popular. iLeap was funded by the Macy Foundation. It has dental students, nursing students, PA students, social work and medical students in a team at various sites, including the FQHCs, the medical intensive care unit at the clinic, the emergency room at the Cleveland Clinic, and the pediatric clinic at the Cleveland Clinic. We did our first pilots. We learned a lot. We're now improving those pilots, and we think that it is possible to do team-based education in the clinical space. The health education campus. If you've been driving at all down Euclid or Chester, you have seen a magnificent building that is arising. The outside is largely done. They're working on the inside. You can see the calendar. By the end of this academic year, our education programs, both the PA and the medical stool program, will be in there. These are a few teasers of what the campus is going to look like. This is an enormous opportunity. This is a way to give the function of our curriculum the form that it deserves. This is a way to enhance interprofessional education. When the students meet one another on the stairs, you notice the elevators are hidden. When the students meet one another in the simulation area, when the students meet one another in that glorious atrium and have lunch and coffee together in the cafeteria, we will learn about other professions at a social level as well as at an academic level. This is an opportunity, and I believe it is our opportunity to go from a nationally prominent curriculum to an internationally prominent curriculum. Many of you know that we've already assisted in developing a medical school curriculum in São Paulo, Brazil. We will have opportunities elsewhere to apply our technologies and our strategies in other contexts, and I can't wait to see what happens there. Let's turn to research. You may remember that, You may remember that in our last strategic plan, we selected a number of areas of focus. We admitted that we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So we selected areas of focus, and we have come a long way in these areas over the last decade. I'm particularly proud in this past year that 2 of our major grants were renewed and enhanced. The Clinical and Translational Science Collaborative received a $46 million award for 5 years, bringing to $174 million the total awarded to this institution through that program. This is an amazing program. It's now under the direction of Michael Constant, who's our Vice Dean for Translational Research, who is actually at the CTSA meeting right now, along with Ginny Petrie, his Executive Director. This has brought together our clinical affiliates to have them work together on clinical and translational activities. It has had a wonderful training program in the KL2 Award, which is an early faculty career award, and it has had graduate program that has turned out clinical and translational scientists who are also getting the MD or the nursing doctorate or the DDS award at the same time. This is a terrific grant. The Cancer Center, under the direction of Stan Gerson, was renewed at $32 million for the next 5 years with an exceptional rating. This is the best score we've ever gotten. It starts with a 1. We've been especially congratulated by the NCI for our training programs and for our community-based research. Now, that's not all that we do. Those are 2 biggies, and those are 2 grants that knit us together across the city, and I'm very proud of those. But we have other grants that are very important. In the cancer space, Amitabh Chak works on esophageal cancer and Barrett's esophagus. Sandy Markowitz has a spore in colon cancer, in digestive cancers. Mitch McTay directs the whole national clinical research program in radiation oncology. And just this past month, Nate Berger, Monica Webb-Hooper, and Lee headed up a program that brought us a P20 in cancer disparities. This is the first time the NCI has offered a program like this. They only awarded 4, and we were one of them. We have an opportunity to attack cancer disparities in our catchment area, and by God, we're going to take it. You've probably heard a lot about our brain health initiative with the recruitment of Lin Mei and Wencheng Zhang. This has really taken off. Wencheng, they came with a great many grants, but Wencheng hadn't even been here a year, and she's already been awarded another R01 in Alzheimer's disease last month. So they're taking off like rockets. Michael Jenkins deserves a special mention because he just got a $9 million grant to use lasers through OCT technology to change the function of the autonomic nervous system, particularly in the heart. And he thinks he can change the way the heart develops and change the outcome of congenital heart disease. Pretty cool, huh? Big data, we've been big in big data. Jonathan Haynes was just awarded the leadership of the Alzheimer's Disease Sequence Analysis Collaborative, which is a $14.6 million grant and is a highly collaborative grant over many institutions. Rong Zhu has been burning up the track in big data analytics. She has combined computational prediction, network analysis, and genetic screening to uncover neurodegenerative causes for Alzheimer's disease, as well as constructing large-scale phenomes of disease and drugs, and developing data-driven system approaches to understand the genetic links between Alzheimer's and other neuropsychiatric issues. Rafik Pierre-Sekely, I can't talk about all of these or I'll be here all day, but Rafik Pierre-Sekely has some remarkable strategies that he believes can actually kill off the last cell in which HIV is hiding in patients with AIDS. He is using CAR T-cell approaches and other adjuncts to find and kill those cells. So this is a strategy for the actual cure of AIDS. It's really quite remarkable. We're very excited about many of these things. I did want to remind you that we've had the good fortune to be able to do well recruiting, and we have brought in a number of individuals who together have added to our coffers by more than $8 million when they walked in the door. And many of these people have obtained new grants in their first year. So we have had a good run recruiting, and I expect we're going to continue to have a good run recruiting. I see Dr. May sitting there. He's after some really terrific recruits in the neurosciences, and we're very eager to see how these folks enhance our programs. And you can see that many of them fit perfectly into our areas of focus. I'm also very proud of our various departments who have come out in the top 15 in the Blue Ridge ranking. Pathology is interesting. When Cliff Harding took over the department, they were 26, and now for the last 2 years, they've been number 10. This is a pretty impressive rise, and this is a pretty impressive department all the way around. Physical medicine and rehabilitation at Metro is already a top 10 department, and I understand that with the new grants that they have received this year, they expect to go up into the very rarefied atmosphere here. So stay tuned. These are only a few examples of the high-impact journals and papers that have come out of extensive collaborations that are in which our investigators either lead or participate. There are substantial numbers of individuals. I can't tell you about all of them, but I'll tell you that in science translational medicine, we have looked at, our investigators have looked at where prions are in patients investigated for prion disease and have found them in the skin. This may have implications for how the disease might spread other than at postmortem or in other mechanisms. In the New England Journal of Medicine, my heart with the pediatric pulmonary group, they discovered a therapeutic intervention that keeps kids with childhood asthma from having the kinds of exacerbations that keep them out of school and keep them from learning every day. Childhood asthma is the most common chronic disease that keeps kids out of school. If you can keep them back in school, you've done a great social service as well as a medical service. Now, this didn't all happen by accident. We've been investing not only in recruitments, but in our scientists already here. We have been putting a lot of money into bridge funding, and really we've had a great return on investment. Just this year we upped the quantity of funding for each award from $100,000 to $120,000 to bridge you if you were a near miss on your NIH grant and you didn't quite get there. So we're looking forward to seeing those returns. The CTSC pilot funding has also had a great return. The other thing I like about the CTSC pilot funding is that we have core facility pilot grants there. And I think we've been able to introduce individuals to core facilities that they might not have been able to access without that dollop of funding to get the statistical or the cryo-EM or the FACS or whatever and try it out for their experiments. So I think that those things have been paid back not only in dollars but also an expansion of the thought process on our grants. We've been working for a number of years on making sure that our discoveries reach patients. This year, the university spun out a record number of 10 new companies, 7 of which were entirely medical school origin, and 2 of the others had medical school contributors. So we've done pretty well, and I have to give a shout out to our Council to Advance Human Health, led by Mark Chance, who's been working and putting money into some of the programs as they move forward to either spin out or licensing. These are the ones I've listed here are really quite impressive. Rodeo Therapeutics was only formulated in the last year, but they're already looking for Series B funding. They've had their Series A of about $6 million. They're looking now at Series B. Convelo is a wonderful company that has the distinction of the only company I know, the only biotech company I know, where all the investors are from Cleveland. Now, this is a very good precedent. Pathobiome, Mahmoud Ghanoum, they're already selling products. So this is a pretty impressive trajectory. Lucid Diagnostics, the clinical trials I think are going to be picked up by the NCI. This is for diagnostics for Barrett's esophagus, and it's really quite a nice little device strategy. NerveGen Pharma was originally constituted with around, I think, $650,000 in June, and by September they had another $2 million. This is a strategy for for regenerating nerves that have been transected, so spinal cord injury, stroke. And the company is looking toward an IPO already. So I think that we have some companies out there that are really on a house of fire that have just been constituted in the last year. So moving to the community space, we've had a lot of great things happening there. One of the things that has brought together a lot of our community is the Health Improvement Plan Cuyahoga County, or HIPC. A number of years ago, we embedded a faculty member, Heidi Gullett, in the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. And she has worked very hard on this project, and she is in fact one of the co-leads of this entire project, which is, I think, says something about the collaborations that she's been able to forge with the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. This group came up with 4 areas of focus: eliminating structural racism, healthy eating and active living, where CWRU is the lead, with Erica Trappel as the personal lead on this. And we'll talk a little bit more about that area. Chronic disease management is being led by Rita Horwitz from Better Health, from the Better Health Partnership, which has received support for its statistical analytics from the CTSC. And the 4th area is linking the clinical sector with the public health sector. And Heidi Gullett is leading that. So we have been really part of probably 120 organizations, academic, hospitals, voluntary health, coming together to work on the health of Cleveland. Now, one of the things that I think inspired the Healthy Eating, Active Living was the funding and activities of the Prevention Research Center for Healthy Neighborhoods at Case Western Reserve. Elaine Borowski has been the lead on the grant, but Darcy Friedman and Erica Trappel have been major players in the development of this, and they have been very much engaged in the FreshLink Ambassador intervention. Its goal is to promote social access using peer-to-peer models of information dissemination to shift the social norms for healthy eating. You know, if all you're used to is fried, salted food, we have to shift your mind. Can't just be done by putting a few vegetables out in the store. So this is a very intense project, and it's really very important. One of the wonderful outgrowths of that was an R01 grant to Darcy Friedman and Ash Segal on existing obesity policy evaluation, which has grown into a grant to Darcy, funded by the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research, FFAR, support the modeling the future of food in our neighborhoods. This is going to apply systems principles to how food comes and is distributed and is consumed. I think the application of systems principles is going to be revolutionary in changing the way we look at community activities. So I'm very proud of that. So another area that we've been working on is Cardio, the Ohio Cardiovascular Health Collaborative, headed by Mike Constant. This is a collaborative across the state to try to control high blood pressure and thereby to reduce the downstream consequences of that, heart disease, stroke. We got this grant largely because Better Health had strategies for the control of chronic disease that they'd been working out over the last 7 years, and because Jackson Wright was the PI on Sprint, had shown himself to be able to recruit and retain minority populations in his studies, and had strategies and a target for blood pressure that was much more stiff than our previous targets. So this is something that across the state of Ohio that's being led at Case Western Reserve. Sherry Bowen, Jackson Wright playing a major role along with Mike. The other component of this is Cardio Project Echo. That's a video conferencing technology which is designed to assist frontline practitioners to access the state learning collaboratives and to share best practices. So what used to be done in person at Better Health can now be done electronically, and we hope that this is going to be an exemplar of leveraging technology for the benefit of patients. One of the things that's most amazing to me is First Year Cleveland. I've been here over 30 years, and I have never seen the state, the county, and the city all get together to fund one project. But they have gotten together to fund First Year Cleveland to try to attack the distressing infant mortality rate in Cleveland. That's being headed up by Mike Constant with Executive Director Bernie Kerrigan. We have a large collaborative group there. There are a number of projects that are... Am I done? Are being devoted to this, and we're very excited about the... Well, I didn't really want to keep you in the dark, but you know, but we've but we've been working on this, and I am particularly, for all the years I spent in pediatrics, it's really important to get a good start. And this program, I think, is something that we can be proud of being based here. Okay, so in order to fulfill our dreams, we have to have some money to do it with. So we do need to talk a bit about money. I think you know that we've had only the very narrowest of margins for many years. And when the new affiliation agreement was written with university hospitals, we went red. We actually lost a little over $20 million a year in inflow, but you can see that we mitigated that pretty significantly and have kept paddling, not quite above water, but within snorkel distance of the surface. And we are coming out of that challenge. And that's because we worked very hard on revenue generation, managing costs, fundraising. We had some support from the Central University in the purchase of a cryo-electron microscope that was $7.5 million that we coveted terribly for our research programs. But honestly, with that kind of a financial challenge, didn't have the money to buy if the Central University hadn't done it with us. And all of you contributed in many, many little things and big things to try to help us mitigate this substantial financial change in funds flow. But I wanted to put this up there to show you that even though our margins were razor thin, we didn't stop investing in the programs that matter to us. In 2011, we funded the Department of Pathology. Pretty good investment. They went from 26 to 10 in the Blue Ridge rankings. That wasn't such a bad thing to do. In 2012, we started to fund our commercialization program. We hired our translational officers. We organized our Council to Advance Human Health, and we started to raise money for the Accelerator Fund. We participated in the Coulter Fund. We tried to get the state funding diverted a little bit to biomedicine, though they were very suspicious of the long timeline we have. But we started to invest there in 2012. In 2013, we recruited the chair of genetics and the chair of what is now Population Quantitative Health Sciences, and the director of the Institute for Computational Biology, and a new chair of biomedical engineering. And as you know, biomedical engineering shared between engineering and medicine. And we put a substantial amount of money into that. And that has proved to be a very important department, both for our neuro program and for other areas of bioscience. In 2014, we recruited Pat Thomas and began a substantive investment in interprofessional education and medical education. The pathways started to burgeon. We were able to put some funding into our medical education and also into our graduate education, and to start up the PA program. Startup costs I think will be repaid, but we put some money into that. Our PA program opened in 2015. In 2016, we reinvested in the visual sciences and brought in a new director. Well, we actually promoted a new director in the RNA Center, and he's out there recruiting right now. In 2017, Lynn May came to head the Department of Neuroscience and to head the Brain Health Initiative. And in 2018, we provided a commitment to the Department of Nutrition. We don't have a whole lot of margin, but part of that is because we've been turning what we do have into into our research, into our education. It isn't a very pretty balance sheet there, but it's a pretty balance sheet in some of the other areas that are very important. I have to give a lot of credit to our finance office and Matthew Lester for keeping us mostly whole and for helping us to find the cash to make the investments that I think have really helped us over time. So what else can contributes to our finance? Many people would say that the best indicator of research activity is really the research expenditures. And this is our total research expenditures, including the CCLCM. This helps us in two ways. Number one, the F&A costs help our fixed costs, because the buildings, we got to heat them and light them whether they're funded or not. So that helps there. And the other way that it helps is covering faculty salaries. Our NIH funding is something that many people track and feel is a good indicator of the research strength of the university. And combined with CCLCM, you can see the steady upward climb of that. If we look just at stuff that runs straight through the School of Medicine and do not include the CCLCM, the total awards directly to the School of Medicine now are more than $250 million. It's increased 4% over FY17. That's just through the School of Medicine. The NIH Awards to the School of Medicine increased by $20 million compared to FY17, which is about 12%. If we include CCLCM and the subcontracts that come in, our NIH funding went up by 10%, so that's pretty good. And in the categories of industry and state and local funding, we've had an increase of over 10% in each of those. I think this is how we're able to do all that good stuff. This is how we get to talk about curing AIDS. This is how we get to talk about detecting esophageal cancer when it's curable and not when the horse is out of the barn. This is how we get to talk about controlling the asthma and the chronic disease for little kids so that they don't have to lose time from school. These dollars, this grant dollar, that's how we realize our dreams. And I think I'd be remiss if I didn't give a special shout out to our basic science departments, who had an overall increase in awards from October to September 30th, October 17 to September 30th of 2018 of 13%. Congratulations, guys, you've done good. We've done well with tuition revenue. Now, some of that is the increase in tuition every year. Some of that is a small increase, a modest increase in the number of medical students. A lot of this is an increase in the master's programs. The PA program, the Master's of Science in Anesthesiology. So those are our tuition-bearing programs. We also have two majors. biochemistry and nutrition that bring in tuition, and that is very helpful. Our finances, our philanthropic attainment is truly remarkable. Our original campaign goal was $350 million. We blew by that, and of course then we moved the goalposts, and it was $500 million. And now we've blown by that. As of September 30th, our campaign attainment was $627 million in the medical school. Every single year for the last 6 years, we've set an attainment record. So congratulations to Carol Moss and her team. This $73 million in the last year is about twice the national average for medical schools that don't have hospitals associated with them. And the cost to raise $1 by our group is about half the national average. So they are working like a house afire. Now, all that $73 million doesn't get to be spent. We actually are almost at 50 new endowed chairs, and you know you put it in endowment and you only get 4.7% out. So there's a big number that goes in and there's a small number that comes out, but it comes out forever, and it's a real honor. And some of these attainments are gifts that will be paid over time, and they're not all paid in the same year. But boy, it's better to have it than not have it. Our rate of pledge fulfillment is about 99%. So it will come, and the medical school will be the better for it. But in the end, it's all about our people. I have too many people to talk about. We have had terrific national prominence here. We've had terrific results at the university level. So forgive me if I don't read every name, but I do want you to see them. And they are, in this program, the honors and the promotions and that sort of thing. Please take a look at it. It's important. So we had 2 people elected to the Fellows of the American Association of the Advancement of Science, national recognition directors and awards from various national organizations, education and excellence awards, boards of directors, fellowships, an exceptional mentor award, we love those, medical education laureate, Hartwell Foundation, an innovation honor for neuronavigation advancements. That's pretty special. Special shout out to Richard Martin, the Mary Ellen Avery Neonatal Research Award from the American Pediatric Society, and the SPR is a very, very special award. And I'm delighted that it came to us. We deserve it. Richard deserves it. The university, we kind of cleaned up at the university level this year. We had 3 winners of the Dekoff Award for graduate mentoring and for graduate teaching, including Tom Love at Metro, Paul Tisar, who probably most of you know more for his research, and Eileen Anderson-Fye, who's over in bioethics teaching her heart out. Drew Adams one of our faculty got the Jackson Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Mentoring. So we are doing very well in the teaching category, and Bill Frank got the Sustainability Champion Award. We got 2 people with the Distinguished Research Award, actually 2 people from the same department, molecular biology and microbiology, Suzanne Brady-Cowley and John Karn, and Cliff Harding became our latest Distinguished University Professor. New leadership roles. We have both interim chairs and chairs. Congratulations to all of these individuals. We're very proud of them. Marlene Miller was actually our first female chair at university hospitals, at least in a very long time. And she was followed hard upon by Nicole Moronium in a surgical department. Kurt Stange, established as the founding director of the Center for Health Integration. Our staff awards were wonderful this year. The highest staff award, Joan Harris Staff Development Award, went to Ginny Petrie. And we had terrific winners of the Staff Diversity Award. I think Bryn won the Joan Harris Award previously. Molly Gilhan and Christian Essman got the Star Award. This is wonderful. Our faculty standouts, we had a Faculty Mentor of the Year, Curtis Donsky, based at the VA, Manson C. in Pathology for the Faculty Diversity Award, and Rena Mera got the Faculty Star Award. Really wonderful stuff. The women faculty honored mid-level and early career individuals, and they honored Dan Anker as he was retiring, and Lena Maida for the Gender Equity Award. This is absolutely remarkable. Congratulations to everybody. And if we didn't mention you, and you didn't see yourself here, tell us about the awards you're getting. Mark Kaplan would covet your awards. I promise you. So, where are we going? I think the new health education campus affords us an extraordinary opportunity to move from excellence to eminence. This is the chance that we've been waiting for, to showcase, to develop, to expand our medical education programs, move from the national to the international level. This is a shot, and we will take advantage of it. We already have a fabulous program. We need to make it internationally prominent, and we need to expand some of the areas that we've already begun, especially our interprofessional. That's got to happen, and it will. We have picked out some of the areas that we want to emphasize in research, but we have to move to support those. We have a great infrastructure now, but some of the infrastructure needs to be refreshed, and we need to do that. But we also need to move into areas that we haven't necessarily been in. Artificial intelligence is one area. Display of big data is another area. Integration of different lines of research. Integration of health data and social data. We have the opportunity in ClearPath to do that. We have tremendous opportunity here. We could be a leader in big data. We could apply big data in many areas. The new cryo-electron microscope is nothing without big data analytics. We have to have that. We have to be able to do that. We think about big data as maybe a bunch of electronic health records, but it's not just that. It's looking at other things to move forward. It's applying systems in various ways. In the community, in the biological systems, in healthcare. I think we have the basics, and we need to move forward on that. And in the community, we have now positioned ourselves in ways that I have never seen before. I have never seen the level of collaborative activity in this city that I have seen now. The hospitals have gotten together to synchronize their studies of what the community needs and to work together to meet it. You ever heard of these guys doing that before? I think it's remarkable. And I think that our participation in it is really very strong. This is an area, however, in which seeking credit is counterproductive. And we have a lot of people who do wonderful things in the community that you don't hear about. And sometimes I get to highlight them in the state of the school, and sometimes we just take a deep breath and we do our work. But we have a chance to change the trajectory of the health in Cleveland. And I've never really felt like we had that chance before, but we do. Following in the footsteps of the Better Health Partnership, following in the footsteps of the Prevention Research Center and the FFAR grant, we can do this. We can come together. We can make ourselves proud of what we've done in education and research and the community. But it all comes out from teamwork. You know, this morning my husband said to me that teamwork is the way you make your dreams work. And I think he had it right. If we work together, we can achieve great things. If we have sharp elbows, forget it. I think we have the real opportunity now in all of the areas of our emphasis to work together and to do great things. And I look forward to what's going to go on here in the next year and in the future. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I'll take them. Yeah.
Comment on the notice that many of us received on the headhunters who are coming into town tomorrow to get some information on the interprofessional leadership. I was surprised that that person is going to be reporting to the provost. So did you comment on whatever is the future of this?
So the president has decided that the interprofessional program will report to the provost. And that they have secured the services of, I think it's Korn Ferry, but Bernard Godfrey has done a lot of work for Metro and has really done a fabulous job for them in finding people. So we really have to get in there and talk about what we want and what is important. I think that we have to say that there may be some people here who are already here, who are top flight candidates for that position. This is not going to be an easy position to fill, I think, from the outside. I think you have to understand who we are and what we do and how we interact with one another. And personally, I think we have some people who are already here who should be considered for that. Well, thank you very much and enjoy your day.